I'm Intruder Green. You might know me from things like La Pub, Leavenworth Prison, and Love Scout 24. Why not? Welcome to the Intruder Green podcast. All right. Yeah, I'm recording this, it's, we're right in the middle of, we're past the middle of May. We're getting on the way here. I'm actually recording this on the day that this episode is coming out. We switched up the release times from Wednesdays to Thursdays because, I don't know, looks like, the scientists who helped me out with this podcast, basically Google, I got a whole team of scientists. They work for Google. All right. They're saying that, people download more shit on Thursdays because maybe that's a good day to listen to podcasts. Hope I don't bum too many people out with it. But, it's like if you prefer to listen to this on a Wednesday, you could always skip a week and then you'll have the last week's episode always ready for you to go on Wednesday, right? That's the way that works. All right. Anyway, this one we got Neil and Tom from Panic Problem. I don't know. I've never seen these guys live. They're not a Canadian band, brought to you by Melanie Kaye PR. And, basically, yeah, like I said, I've never seen them live, but if they're, as funny and fun as they were to talk to on a podcast live, then you should definitely check out their show because, the tunes are great and, they're just fun dudes and we had a good time. Want to give a shout out to the patrons. Actually, no, I don't want to give a shout out to the patrons. I want to give a shout out to the producer of the podcast, Luke Ellis, Hedda Royston, Gem City Sabrina, Vaughn Cotton, Sarah Koenig, Chelsea McNally, Cardboard Box Colony, and Carlos Hernandez. Thanks again, guys, so much for helping me do this. Patreon is getting weird with weird tax shit and stuff, so there's going to be some changes going on. It shouldn't impact anybody's how much you want to put in there or anything, but I don't know, maybe I'll have to change some things up and we can grow the community who's helping me have money so I don't die trying to do this thing. But anyway, if you want to become a producer of the podcast, you can hit me up on patreon.com/Intruder Green. If you just want to let your voice be heard, I know people have been chiming in a lot on these Green's cocktail hour things, which I'm doing on Saturdays. We'll keep doing that as long as it seems like a thing to do. I might have to miss a weekend here or there for shit happens and I can't be around to do a live thing. And if that happens, I'll try to have a makeup day or something. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if it'll work out, but we'll see what we can do. And in the meantime, you guys keep asking me lots of questions on those things, and that's cool. That's kind of why we do that, Same reason we used to do the DJ thing, during the Interrupters tour. Me and Officer Bradford doing DJ after show parties and stuff. It's fun, but it's also grueling, and but ultimately it's a way for us to hang out with fans and talk to you guys and whatnot, in person or over the internet. But another way to do that is call the Intruder Green call-in line, and you'll let your voice be heard by everybody. I'm sure you guys have interesting things to say, so you can get me there at +1 608 535 9608. And yeah, I guess that's about it. I don't know what's changed in the days since the last podcast as far as politics and whatnot. Probably not much. So without further ado, on with the show.
Hello, this is a prepaid collect call from
Intruder Green,
an inmate at the Durham Correctional Institution. This call is subject to recording and monitoring. To accept charges, press 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, Neil and Tom from Panic Problem on the Intruder Green podcast. How you doing, guys?
All right,
Good.
doing good.
We finally made it to the intro. We're like halfway there. I feel like we're halfway there. I've been kind of like, feeling cooped up, doing what we got to do these days. And I already did like one podcast, and I got another podcast after this. And I feel like it's only proper, especially because the last podcast I did, it's like a drinking podcast. So I'm having a drink for each podcast. I mean, That makes sense, right? That's like what you do.
I think it's a really solid idea.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. I'm glad we're on the same boat there. Now, you guys are based out of Baltimore, right?
That's right. Charm City.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
You down with I know whenever we go to Baltimore, we always stay with Rachel at the Feed the Scene house. You ever been there?
Oh, we love Rachel. Rachel is the best.
Yeah. She really takes care of you, and she's got a nice place to stay. I would definitely recommend hitting her up if anybody listening is into that. Yeah.
Feed the Scene is amazing.
Yeah, it's such a cool thing that, I guess she started it basically, and then I know she works with somebody else. I can't remember where her friend is from, who also is doing it, but it's a cool thing she's doing and trying to push it. Basically, Feed the Scene, and I actually should probably talk to her right now because who knows what she's doing with these, pandemic times when nobody's touring, but she's still got to kind of keep her dream alive. So maybe she's helping out in other ways, and I should get a hold of her about that. But that's another topic.
You should hit her up. She's actually doing awesome. I was just talking to her. We're actually working on a music video right now that I got to kind of keep under wraps, but she's actually...
You just said it on the podcast, so...
It's not on the wraps.
I mean, hey, look.
Okay.
You moron.
I mean, hey, but she may or may not be...
Do I seriously need to
in
edit that out or what?
No, keep it in.
Okay.
It adds allure and mystique.
That's right. We won't say which song it is or who the actors are.
Yeah.
Keep them guessing.
It may or may not be about us. You don't know.
That's right. But go on about that. You're doing a video. I need to know more. I don't think you finished it.
No, we're working on a music video right now for a song called "I Love the East Coast." It's the last song on the record. It's about how we think that the East Coast is amazing, and it's not that we don't like other places. It's just that it so happens that we are particularly fond of that place.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I appreciate that because so many people write songs about how great the West Coast is. And I will agree with those songs, like the Beach Boys, California Girls, and I don't know, about 1 million songs that came out in the 90s were I fucking love living on the West Coast and all this stuff, fucking get my Starbucks coffee and all that. But you can get Starbucks anywhere now. But the East Coast is fucking tight, so I appreciate that.
It's I mean, it's the OG. It's where everyone came from initially.
That's true.
So
once upon a time, the Wild West was the East Coast. Crazy.
Yeah.
That's right, man.
So I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, to everybody who's listening, as far as we're concerned, you're always welcome to return. Go back to your roots. Come back to the East Coast. It's never too late. So if you're in the Midwest, it's not the Midwest stinks. It's a perfectly fine place to go and be and live for a while.
Some of it is.
And then come back.
Yeah,
and come back to where we all belong on the East Coast.
Yeah, I mean, some parts of the East Coast probably have too many people. I wouldn't recommend going to every place in the East Coast.
Yeah, but it's just don't go there. Go to the other places.
Go to the other places.
Tom, some of those places. What do you got?
Exactly. Don't go to New York. It's too crowded.
Fucking A.
Come to Baltimore.
No, it's fine.
Come to Baltimore.
Baltimore,
we got plenty of room.
Don't get me wrong. I love New York, but it is definitely too fucking crowded there. I mean, this whole pandemic thing they got going on, the way they have to deal with it, holy shit. They're never getting out of lockdown there. You guys...
I mean, it's weird because every time I've been to New York, it's always under construction. It's like a Pennsylvania road. I'm when, then again, I love that town. I love it to death. But I'm like, guys, could you stop? Just, take a break. Let's all look at it, see how it looks. It looks good. All right, then, work on one thing. But, everywhere I go, it's always under construction. I'm like, what are you working on? That's, that's my take on New York. It's
that would be pretty funny if construction workers worked the way you want them to. Just like, hey, look at it. Looks good. All right. We must be finished here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on, and the thing is, I mean, nothing against construction workers. I love them. I love them all to pieces. Good job, guys. Keep doing it. But calm down. Just calm down.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, what's
Why
the
so
place?
serious, right?
A break. Hey, let me ask you. I'm doing the questions now. Let me ask you a question.
That's fine.
I gotta tell you, the way you talk is infectious. How many times do you talk to people and halfway through the conversation they're talking like you by the end? Because I'm doing it right now and I don't even mean to.
Well, you're from the East Coast. You know how it is.
It's such a it's amazing. It's so cool. I love it.
I mean, that's how accents happen anyway, right? You are around people long enough and then you pick it up and then that's the way you talk. In my case, I was in prison long enough that I got a prison accent. So, it can be infectious. You end up in a place and you get it, that becomes an accent. That's infectious. That's how infections happen, I think. Is you're just around people long enough.
It's
and
basically, I mean, that's my understanding of it too. Basically, infections, I mean, the way I see it is infections infect, and then you get something. So it's like a 3-step plan.
Yeah, there you go.
Honestly, in this day and age, I appreciate the straightforwardness of it, frankly. There's no bait and switch. It's either point A or point B. That's the end of it. I appreciate the straightforwardness of it. I like it. This one time I was on tour and I was playing like not even Boston, but like north of Boston. And all these kids came out to the show and it was totally cool. And this old band that I was in, we were also from Baltimore, and they're like, they got like the most hard Massachusetts Boston accents, and they're like, you guys talk hella weird. You guys sound like you're space mutants. And I was dying. I couldn't handle it. Because no one who has an accent thinks that they have an accent. They think they talk like your ears hear like a normal person. And then you take yourself out of context and you sound like it's just completely amazing. Like sometimes, you'll see a video of yourself and you're talking to people from like a different part of the country. And not only do they sound different, but you're like, I sound like that? I didn't think I sounded like that.
Yeah.
It's just weird. And the Baltimore accent it's my favorite accent in the whole country. It's also one of the only accents that people deliberately try to not have if they have it. And it always comes out when you're angry. And it's the one accent you don't want to have when you're angry because no one will take you seriously unless you're from Baltimore, and then they'll take you seriously.
Do you guys have that accent? You try to cover it up or what? Because I don't hear it.
I try to cover it up a lot. I'm born and raised in Baltimore. I live in southern Pennsylvania now because I got no money, but you try to cover it up. You got one at this point, Tom? You've been living in Hamden for a while. You got to have it.
No, I like to make fun of it though.
Oh, dude.
No, all in good fun. I grew up in New York.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
I grew up in New York, and I've lived in Baltimore for a total of around 14 years. I've also lived in Florida, also lived in California. So
shit. I was going to say, you almost sound like you could be from California. You got that a little bit of draw there. It's nice.
Yeah, so,
it's welcoming.
I don't know. I don't know what the fuck my voice sounds like anymore.
Yeah.
You're a mutt.
Yeah.
It's good, though. It's good. That's why you're so eloquent, because, I've got the Baltimore accent. Like, if you were to do it, it's like, I got to move my jaw around in order to get it right. Like, it's like, it's like, hey, hon, we're going to rip that guy off good. What we're going to do is we're going to get around that back, take his tires, and leave that car on, mostly cinder blocks. Find something, Rico. Put one more in there. Like, that's the Baltimore accent. And it's
like, go down to Ritchie Highway, get yourself
go down to Ritchie Highway. Them dancing girls down there is real good. Like, it's
holy shit.
It's not good.
That sounds like a perfect mixture of.
You try so hard to get rid of it. And then as soon as you get frustrated with someone, it comes right out. So it's like, don't you talk to me that way. I'm going to go and do my thing over there. And you're like, oh, great. That's how you talk to someone, and they just kind of look at you like you have 8 heads. And again, except unless you're from Baltimore, in which case they escalate it, like they're like, you ain't go over here, you're going over here. It's just, all right. And yet you were talking about $5. It had nothing to do with location at all.
That's crazy. That accent though, if what you did was accurate, and even if it's not accurate, it still is an amazing thing you did with your voice. Well, it sounded like the perfect cross between like a rural accent, like when you're out in the country. And it's weird how like people, even in like Wisconsin, where Mass Intruder likes to hang out a lot because it's cold. People up there, when they live out in the country, lots of times they sound like they're from the South. And we never really got that.
It's weird.
Except it's not really a Southern accent. There are Southern accents, but it's also like...
No, it's weird. It's super weird. Yeah, so like Baltimore has this really weird history where a lot of people from West Virginia and Ohio came to work in these foundries and these metalsmithing places. So there's actually one that's still standing there called Steve, right? It's like Steve Silver, Tom? Steeple, yeah.
Wait,
some shit like
something
that.
Silver. So
I thought you were saying like Steve's over. Like Steve, hey, our buddy Steve's over.
Steve Silver, hey, come on down. Yeah. We got all the silver you want and somebody else's too. So it's like
that's right.
But it's like it was a harbor town. It's an super old town, and a lot of Appalachia came to Baltimore and basically got stuck because the industry
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
it dried up and they got stuck, and like the same families have been living in the same houses, particularly in this one neighborhood called Hamden that we're talking about. And it's a really interesting dynamic in that part of Baltimore because you have these families that have literally been, in this area for a couple hundred years that truly are the locals at this point. And then you have Hamden's gone through a few different kind of like revivals at this point. And so you get the artist wave that moves in, and then the developers come in and they price out all of the artists, and we all have to like move to like a periphery or a perimeter, and the blues lawyers come in from DC. But the true Hamdenites, they've owned their properties for like ever. They have no bills, and so you have this really weird mix of these like Baltimore hillbilly city people and these like really affluent people living like shoulder to shoulder. It's super interesting and strange.
Wow. I mean, it's fucking A. Diversify. Why not? All right.
Yeah. So there's a lot of Crystals and Rickies in Hamden still, which is nice.
Yeah. A lot of hillbilly shit going on.
Yeah. Like my favorite Baltimore story was I was having breakfast one time with she was my girlfriend then, she's my wife now. And we were eating breakfast, we walk out, and there's this couple, and one of the coolest things is that a lot of people in Hamden, they wear winter coats, doesn't matter what season it is. Oh. They're always wearing winter coats with fur linings. It's crazy. But they're wearing a winter coat. This guy's got no shirt on, winter coat. He looks like something out of like one of those like Vin Diesel XXX movies, And
what? I don't even know what that means. He looks like Vin Diesel?
He's walking in the street with his lady. Because they're walking in the middle of the street with their kid and his lady, and this car pulls up, and he just looks at her and looks at the car, looks at her again, and just beelines it for the car. He's not running, but he's walking with a purpose, you know? And she just screams at him, because that's all you do in Hamden is scream. And she's like, "Hey, where are you going?" And he turns around and he just raises his arms like in that like sort of like Christ-like, arms out, sort of arms wide open creed sort of stance.
Like he's being crucified.
And goes, "I'm going to work." He just goes, "I love you." And he goes, "Yeah, I love you too." He gets in a car and leaves. The entire thing was in the middle of the street. It was in the middle of the day. It was all done in screams. That's it. It's a perfectly fine exchange. They both love each other. They're raising a child. He's working. Everything's fine. But it's done in this completely strange, just cultural difference thing. It's super weird.
And he's working without a shirt, apparently.
But with a coat. No shirt, but with a coat. But it's open.
Hell yeah.
So he likes to party. So it's this whole thing. Awesome. Baltimore is the shit. Go Baltimore.
Hell yeah. I've always had a good time in Baltimore. I mean, fuck. Like we party down there. It's a party city. It's a good place to hang out. I think we always go to this Italian deli when we're down there, and it's real good. You got a lot of inner city shit happening, but it's not like New York where it's too fucking big. It's fucking great.
Yeah. Yep. I wonder what deli you went to.
I don't know what the
That's
fuck it was called, but it's like a typical Italian deli, you know. Yeah, I don't know. You walk in there and you got all these like Pellegrinos and like things for sale in the counter and
Oh,
stuff.
what's that joint?
And then you walk
it's like
through.
right downtown, Tom. It's like
Mastalones?
You could say the right name and I will not know.
yeah,
He's
it's fine. Fuck it.
It's some Italian. You could say any Italian name. That's
Yeah, Castiglione's. All right.
the one.
That's probably a real Italian name. Sorry if I offended anyone by using it.
4 out of 5 guys who are not Italian agree. That's probably a real Italian name.
All right. Well, okay. I think we covered accents and the fact that fucking Baltimore is rad. And it does get a bum rap because people always concentrate on the negatives. But, you know, like I said, we always have a fucking great time when we're there. Love coming to that city. But we should talk about the band. How is you guys came out with a new album not too long ago, right?
Yep. Few weeks.
Only a few weeks
now.
weeks.
It's been out for
Creepers.
I guess it's been out for about a month.
About a month. All right. And you're making a music video for it.
Yep.
And as far as I can tell, is this your first like full length?
Yes, this is our debut first full length album.
Yeah.
We recorded it last year with Pete from Bouncing Souls.
Oh, tight.
Yeah. And that was a dream come true. It was cool hanging out and partying in Asbury Park while we were doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And we got some other friends there too.
I
So it was
fucking
good
love
hanging out.
Asbury
And
Park.
we got to, the studio is in the Cada's Great House. So if you're like a Bouncing Souls fan, that's a cool piece of trivia. And like you walk through that place and there's like tons of cool, just like stuff just like laying around, like album art that you didn't know was a painting and stuff. Like it's really cool to see like all the stuff like almost out of context of how you normally would see it. So it was really fun. And for me, I think it sounds good. It was cool. It was definitely cool recording guitars there and shit for sure. Awesome.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I love Asbury Park. Fucking, it was always tight. Like, I don't know if you guys played shows down there, but by like where the lanes used to be.
Oh yeah, Asbury Lanes when that place was around. I mean, I guess it's still around. I just haven't figured out like what the deal is because it used to be run, real DIY, and now it seems like it's like I don't know. It's like you changed ownership or something. I don't know what the deal is. But when I played there few years ago, I had the privilege of playing there twice, and that place was the shit. That was one of the like crown jewels, in my opinion, of like as far as like East Coast places to play. Like built-in crowd and people wanted to actually hear you and
that's right.
Staff was cool as shit,
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great place, great location because it was like you could fucking like play in a bowling alley, go bowling all fucking day, or like just like walk down to the beach and like hang out. It was fucking great. But yeah, it's totally different now. I haven't been back there actually since it changed, but you could just tell by going to their website that it's all fucked up.
It just seems like, and I'm not talking bad about the place, nothing like that. It just seems it's different. And
I'll do that for us both.
Whatever they're doing there, they're trying to be as true to how that place was as possible. Because from my end, that place was the shit.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I hope they do. I just don't think that's probably going to happen.
Me either. Yeah. I'm just trying to be polite.
I know, but I'm not. Like it's not the same place anymore at all. It seems like they're, but that's what people do. It's like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna be like the type of person who loves music and start a business based around music? Cause that's good, but you're probably not gonna make a whole lot of money at it. Or are you gonna be somebody who like is really into money and you see an opportunity to score some cash?
That. Yeah, I mean, I don't think
because the business is going down and you fucking take it over and like, I don't know. I don't know
I gotta say I got a lot of favorite things about punk in general, but I think one of my favorite things in general about just punk is how just collectively we kind of self-police and self-educate as a community to smell the bullshit a mile away. So like, I mean, it's like anything, like when you tour, like you play like DIY spaces and you can tell those people are like, they can barely rub two pennies together, but it's the coolest place you'll ever play. And it's the coolest thing you'll ever, like it ends up becoming like a place that you always have to try and go to. And you lament, you're so bummed out when it goes away for whatever reason. And then there's those other places that are real shiny. They're real, clean. They got the best dressing room and all that shit. And you're just like, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes those places are pretty nice to play too, because like if they do it right, it's not just clean and pretty. It's like they treat you like real well.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, but again, you can pick those details out. Like there's little details, little cracks in that where you go, oh no shit. Like a great example. I don't know if you've ever played the Black Cat in Washington D.C., but that place is the shit, and that's a big venue. That's a big club. But they've been doing it for years and years and years and years. And the reason why bands, no matter how big they get, keep going back there is because they treat the bands and they treat the people who like music really well, Yeah. So I to your point, I think that people that are really about it, it's like, I don't know. It's like, you don't have to fuck anybody over to have a good time in punk. You don't have to.
You still can. You just don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, you can if you want.
Right?
But it's choice.
I mean, it happens.
I just heard this interview, actually.
It's not like punk rock isn't dangerous, all right? It still is a little bit dangerous, but not nearly as much as it used to be.
I mean, but, punk, I mean, the cool thing about punk music is it is dangerous. It's extremely dangerous, but it has a community with it. So that's the difference.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So like punk can be, scary as shit and dangerous. Absolutely. I mean, like I played, actually, here's a funny story. I went on a tour one time and I played Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
Oh yeah. That's a nice place.
I love Oshkosh to death, but my old band ended up playing with like some bands by accident that were maybe tied into, like some not so good things. By accident, like we didn't know what the deal was.
Like racism?
Yeah.
There's a lot of that up in that area.
And until we fucking got there,
Yeah.
But then simultaneously, there were a lot of really cool kids that came after that show.
Yeah.
And kind of still made it cool, even though some of the bands that ended up at that thing weren't.
Right.
So
because they didn't know anything about those bands, probably.
Well, then that's the thing, it's like, and I think it's like anything. I mean, I'm sure you guys have to know this too, like, probably more than I do, which is that, at a certain point you play enough, you tour enough, you do enough of everything that like it all comes back around at a certain point. So that as long as you're being true to yourself and you're being genuine, like back to the, Asbury Lanes thing and other cool shit like that. Like if you're genuine like that, like it's not going to be a problem. You're going to come out all right. And it's a small community. I mean, punk is, massive, but it's still a close knit group, so just don't be a creep or too much of a creep.
Yeah. Don't be a dick.
Yeah. There it is.
That's the one.
There it is. Don't.
I heard that branding from somebody else. I can't take credit for it, but I would try to anyway. Yeah. So, yeah, fucking Oshkosh Bagosh. That's the thing I was going to say. Yeah, that's the weird thing about it too, is like we play with bands, or I played with bands like, over the years, and like sometimes they say some fucked up shit on stage and you're like, where the fuck did that come from? I was just talking to that guy. I did not realize he was a fucking racist piece of shit.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. Yep. Why? Why did that happen?
Right?
Where did that?
Yeah, and then you come to realize like, oh, there's a lot of that shit in this scene. But it's not necessarily the scene that's the problem. It's the community around the scene, because it's always about the sub community, which is punk rock, that is based on this scene. And of course there's going to be some fucking assholes in it who think like, oh, here's a bunch of misfits. Well, here's what I got to say. And then you're like,
that's the thing.
Wait a minute, buddy. That's not cool.
And that's in a weird sort of way, that's one of the things that I like about punk, is that like, unlike a lot of other shit that's out there, like it's still a fringe community. Okay. Yeah. So it to me, I grew up in a really rural area. I grew up where, if you weren't dressed like one of three, kinds of things, you were going to get labeled out, and it didn't, and you didn't have to actually like punk music. You could be into like Dungeons and Dragons or like fucking Nintendo or shit or just whatever, like, if you just weren't one of those three things, it was very like Shermer, Illinois, like if you weren't one of those three things from the Breakfast Club, like you were out. It just wasn't going to exist for you. Yeah. And so that was our punk scene that we grew up in. So it was a bunch of miscreants and misfits and extras and odd ends. And it's been so cool, like keeping up with the kids from the Carroll County, Maryland music scene, because it's still going on. And a lot of those guys have gone on to do like rad shit, like Derek from the Nightbirds, the drummer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's one of those kids. Okay. Oh, yeah. And like he runs Wall Ride Records, that put out the Ergs and shit. So like it's just cool. It's just cool stuff because like.
Hi, Intruder Maniacs. Are you in a band? The answer is, of course you are. Everybody's in a fucking band these days. Anyway, if you're in a band, congratulations. I'm making the worst financial decision of your life. Aside from taking out college loans or something. Yeah. Now there is a way to lessen the burden of such a financial decision. It's called merchandising. And Stupid Rad Merch Company is all ready to meet your merchandising needs. You want some t-shirts? Got a tight deadline you need them printed on? And because you booked a tour less than a month out and you didn't get canceled like everybody else's tours did? How about a bunch of weird random trinkets like keychains, medallions, and what about koozies? Like everybody likes koozies. Koozies are great because they keep your drink cold and your hand warm, or vice versa, depending on what you're drinking. Stupid Rad Merch Company can get all these made for you. Stupid Rad Merch Company is an in-house artist who can help you with your designs of stuff. They're still a small enough company that they pay special attention to you and your special needs, because, everybody's got special needs. Like, you probably mostly. And they even got a web store. That's where the real magic is. You go on tour and you sell your stuff, but chances are you're going to have some left over, or some fans are going to feel like left out because they didn't have enough money to buy something at your show. So they go on to stupidradmerch.com and find stuff from your band on there. They'll take care of all your production and shipping fulfillment needs. So go ahead, go on to Stupid Rad Merch Company's web store right now and check out all the tight bands that are already on there. They got a bunch of them, like got the Bomb Pops and like the Bad Cop and stuff. It's all good. All sorts of cool swag. And right now, if you go on there and at checkout you use the code PRISON, you can get 15% off all of the Stupid Rad Merch branded apparel at stupidradmerch.com. Go check it out. stupidradmerch.com. Guitar players, I bet you thought you were shit out of luck when it comes to finding your dream guitar or amp. You go on some auction site or something and it's all crap. Yeah. Well, that's because, you gotta look in the right place. And the right place is Yeah Man's Vintage and Used Guitars. They got exactly what you're looking for. Now, I know what you're thinking. Aren't they located in like Switzerland or something? Yeah, man, they are. Bern, Switzerland to be exact. But you can get on the internet and you can go check out their website, yeahmansguitars.com, and you can order stuff on there. So, it don't really matter where the heck you are in the world. You can just get on their website and find all sorts of cool stuff that you're looking for. And you might not even know that you wanted it until you see it on there, and there's a lot of good stuff. If you got something specific you're looking for and need some help finding it, just hit up Yeah Man Guitars on the electronic mail. That's the email. It's like 21st century and you got email and websites. It's like amazing. Some people will call it magic. Some people will call it science. I just call it, crazy shit. yeahmansguitars@gmail.com. As far as email goes, it's where you email them. And while you're at it, get your band a tour in Europe and stop by the shop. Michael and the rest of the crew would love to meet you, I'm sure. And you could tell them Green sent you. Yeah Man's Vintage and Used Guitars.
We all grew up with each other and we all went on to do cool things. And that's still going on. And it's still a bunch of people who had nothing else to do. But to your point, like, that's also how some weirdos can slip in. How they slip in under that sort of that extra, and it takes a minute because, they always put up some front, they fake it. And then all of a sudden, wait a minute, that guy's weird, or that girl said that racist thing, or it's that shit. And the nice thing is, most of the time, it does weed itself out pretty quick, which is good, before too much harm and damage can get done. So that's fucking cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right about punk rock still being a community where weed that shit out. It's better than anything else going on in music. I'll tell you that much. All right. So I gotta ask you guys, unless you need to announce anything about the band and stuff. But if not, I gotta ask you about Crime Story.
Oh, that's awesome.
You got me.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would say, this is what I want to announce about the band, is that you can go and buy our songs digitally on our Bandcamp, our album digitally on our Bandcamp, which is www.panicproblembemore.bandcamp.com, or you can go to panicproblem.com and you can get a physical copy of the record. And I'm ironing shit out with the web store. So if anything's weird there, just email us and we'll get you the copy. It'll be all hooked up, and you can listen to us on Spotify and all that digital shit. So there we go. We got that out of the way. That's done. And now let's talk about some good shit. Let's do it. Crime Stories.
I want to say though, real quick, fucking love Bandcamp. I'm glad you guys are dealing with it, and you're still on the other streaming sites. Like fucking, I got hooked on that shit so back in the day, and it's amazing because it's like anybody can put that shit on there. So like,
to this day, I think the biggest mistake that Facebook ever made was that they blew it on the music side of things, because when MySpace was around, that's how I'm dating myself. That was very music focused, and
it ended up being
listen
that
to
way,
band
for sure.
shit right there. It was like a one-stop shop kind of deal.
Yeah,
and like, you could actually, like, as a band, as an independent band, you could actually like monetize your MySpace shit actually pretty well. And Facebook is just like, it's a dump. I mean, it's just,
it's terrible.
You do it because you have to. If you don't do it, people are like, what's with that guy? Like, it's super weird. But like, thank God for Bandcamp, man. That is like, or Dog, or whatever you're into, thank this lamp that Bandcamp's around, like, I'm just stoked that Bandcamp is out there and we can make money as artists, and most importantly, that you don't have to be some like rich person to actually put something out and people to listen to it. So that's cool as shit. That's my rant on Bandcamp. You're welcome.
Oh well, yeah. I fucking. It's not like I'm getting sponsored by them or anything. I just fucking think it's a great website, and in the age of like so much goddamn shitty social. What do you call it? Social networks or whatever.
Yeah.
Like social internets and stuff. Bandcamp is like the one great thing that we still got going. Maybe YouTube, but Bandcamp is like strong. And the person who turned me on to,
I mean, like that shit is so cool. There's another thing. I don't know if you've ever checked this out or not. There's a really cool thing that's out there called Udemy. You ever heard of that thing?
I heard of it. I don't know what the fuck it is though.
It's cool as shit. Basically, like if you need to learn something, and
I need to learn.
You can't figure it out on YouTube or Google, there's probably a Udemy class for it. So like for those people that are out there that are trying to like self-educate or just like really get something close to like a college type class on something, and you can do it with like audio engineering too, mechanics. Fixing your own house and shit. So like, I mean, there's a lot of stuff on there, and some of the classes are expensive, but they usually do sales. I'm just a guy that likes to learn a lot of different shit, like a lot of weird stuff. Yeah. And that's like between Google, YouTube, Udemy, and then like really weird Bandcamp sites and shit like that. Like my life is complete. It's just awesome.
All right. Well, I think we covered the internet. Let's talk about some crime. Yeah, all of it. I mean, the only things that matter, really. I mean, we figured it out. We figured out the internet. Hey. Yeah.
One thing real quick. Tomorrow is another one of those Bandcamp days where they're not taking any money from bands. So go out there and support your bands. Buy their shit on Bandcamp.
Yeah. Oh, shit. But this isn't going to come out tomorrow. So
that's all right.
We're fucked.
All right. Well, then we would like
just so you know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's good that I know, but at the same time, I'm going to leave it. Maybe I'll edit out the part where I say this doesn't come out tomorrow, because then people go on Bandcamp to get the deal. And even if there's no deal, they'll just be like, well, whatever, this is a cool website.
Awesome.
In
fact,
I'll just edit out everything after you said about, you talked about the deal.
Genius.
Yeah, that's the way it's going to work.
It's one of those weird free things. There you go. There it goes.
I actually just realized what I'm going to do here. All right. I got to mark down this time. Yep. All right. Crime stories, huh, guys?
Let's do it.
What you got?
All right. I got one.
All right.
I got one. This harkens back May 20 years ago or so, back when that terrible green leaf evil weed, the reefer of doom.
If it's green, it can't be bad.
Yeah, exactly. It was illegal, and I'll try to make this real quick. But we were watching wrestling at my friend's house in his apartment above a liquor store. Some real city shit.
That sounds tight as hell.
And we were actually doing some pre-production that week for my old band's record, and Joe Gittleman from the Boss Tones was down for a little name plug.
Damn.
And he was helping us out with some shit. And he had
hell of a name plug.
He hasn't spent much time with us or anything in Baltimore, so we invited him over to watch wrestling. And of course, he was like, "What the fuck is this shit?" And so he leaves.
Netflix and chill.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, this was like Monday Night Raw.
We're wrestling. Come on.
Yeah. So anyway, we're most of the people left, and it's me and a couple friends, and we're smoking weed. It's probably like 12:31 in the morning, and we don't even have the TV on. We're just sitting there talking.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, knock on the door. My friend Mike, whose apartment it was, like looks at us. We're all like fucking blown out of our socks. Like, what the fuck? We don't. He's like, I was like, dude, do you even know anybody in this building? He's like, no. He's like, who the fuck's knocking on our door? So hello, and they're like, Baltimore Police Department, and he's all like, just a minute, sir. Meanwhile, we're fucking freaking out. We're freaking out, like running around trying. We realized we had only smoked a joint, so we didn't have any fucking bongs or anything around. So we were like, all right, shit. I don't know. So one of my friends has a bag weed, puts in his pocket. I had earlier in the day, my friend Mike was a photographer. He had all those old school canisters of film, those black canisters of film.
Yeah.
He had like, I don't know, 8 or 10 of them sitting out on the coffee table.
That's not suspicious at all.
Yeah.
He's taking lots of pictures. We're doing a photo shoot here, Mr. Officer.
Right. So I grabbed one that's empty, and I was like, hey, dude, can I use this? And he's like, yeah, sure. So this is earlier in the evening. I threw all my weed in there, and I put it in my pocket along with the like bag of like sticks and stones. And so the cops come in. This is fucking how ridiculous weed arrests were 20 some odd years ago in Baltimore City, and for probably still exist in other places right now, like fucking Alabama and the South and shit.
Texas. It's gotta be Texas.
Yeah. So no shit. They rolled in with like had to be 7-8 cops.
Oh yeah.
There's like three of us, stoned out of our minds, sitting on a couch, and they fucking start rummaging through the fucking apartment. Start like going through all the bedrooms, throwing stuff around. They keep like grilling us, like, all right, where's the weed? Where's the weed? We know you got it. We're like, no.
That's what they sounded like, though. That's great.
And of course it reeks in there, It just smells like we were just fucking puffing a big old fucking blunt. And just, we're like, yeah, no, officer, we have no idea what you're talking about. And they're like, come on. We're not idiots. We're like, we are. I don't know what you're talking about. And so these motherfuckers keep grilling us, and had to be, I don't know, had a good half hour. They were all in there, like, running around, and had cop cars downstairs, and like people in the building, like, what the fuck's happening? And so anyway, one of my friends must have been really fucking paranoid, because he fucking loses his mind, and he just jumps up and fucking pulls a bag of weed out of his jacket and goes, there you go, you got me, I give up. And here I am, I'm the only other guy with weed, so I'm sitting there, and I see him do that, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, out of your fucking mind? And so, a little side story, that particular guy, actually all the guys that lived there were friends of mine from New York who had moved down. And so
oh, shit.
I feel really shitty because I was all like, well, fuck, man. The reason these idiots are here is because of me. And so I was all like, all right, sorry. Let me go back just a second. Right before that, as they're digging through all the fucking shit in the apartment.
Yeah.
I realize that the black canister of weed that I have in my pocket looks exactly like every other canister that's on the table that the cops that had come in had already looked in and saw film canisters.
Okay.
So while they were searching around, I fucking grabbed that shit out of my pocket and literally slid it like fucking like old school, like diner fucking.
Oh, sleight of hand. Oh, yeah. That's real good with crimes.
Fuck yeah. I slid it in there. Those motherfuckers never saw it. And so anyway, I still felt bad for my friend. So I was like, all right, dude, I'm not letting you go down. And so I jumped up and I was like, all right, I got this. And all I had was that empty bag with like a couple sticks and stones in it. And they were like, all right, they fucking cuffed us up. We spent the night in central booking in Baltimore City. Yeah. Highly, I don't recommend that shit at all.
Yeah.
And then, and the two of us, you get your mug shot, you get your phone call. So, they separated us. He makes his phone call. I call my friends back at the apartment. I was like, don't worry. They locked us up. We're going to be fine. I think. I don't know. I guess I'll try to get in touch with you tomorrow or try to call the police tomorrow, find out when we're going to get out. I don't know how this shit works. It's my first time being arrested. Yeah. And so anyway, he comes back down the way. And I was like, who'd you call? And he goes, well, my parents, man. I called my parents. And I was like, what? Why the fuck did you call? He woke up his parents in New York at like 2 a.m. to tell him he had been arrested for weed. Oh. And he's like, why would you call? I was like, fucking Mike and Joe, just to let them know we're all right.
Just to let them know we're all right. I'm in jail, but I'm all right. No.
We get out the next morning. Everyone, turns out Joe, we didn't get to rehearse that day because I was in fucking jail. And so, Joe basically was fucking so angry with me and everybody. He fucking drove back up to Boston. It was a terrible, terrible weekend. But the end of the story ends with me going back to that same apartment, hanging out with my friends, telling them the whole jail story. And they go, dude, that's fucking nuts. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. You know what? They're like, what? I go back to the table where all the fucking containers are. Yeah. I picked up the one, open it, still filled with my weed.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking championship.
Stoner's delight.
So
I mean, come on. That's
my crime story.
That's amazing story. I love that one.
I actually, last bit, because you're in Wisconsin, I actually could not perform. We had a show on a tour in Green Bay, and instead of playing that show, I had to fly back to Baltimore for my court date.
Oh, shit.
So the rest of the band did acid, I think.
So they just didn't play the show. Yeah,
we were on tour with shit. I think that was with No Use for a Name and Anti-Flag, and
Holy
I
shit.
think a bunch of those dudes took acid and had a blast in Green Bay while I was fucking. I had to be clean shaven and stand in front of a judge and beg for forgiveness.
Oh shit! Yeah, I mean Green Bay does rule, and it's a bummer that you had to miss that, but you gotta do what you gotta do. How did that go? Did you get off?
I got the old probation before judgment, and so I got 9 months or 10 months probation. That's plus I think it was like a $750 fine or something like that. Yeah. Which was a lot for a fucking broke ass touring idiot.
I mean it's a lot for anybody who ain't rich. Anyway.
Yeah.
No shit. Yeah, no shit.
I had to use
I don't give a shit if you got a job. That's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
That's a decent guitar.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got one.
Yeah. Let's do one more, and then I should probably call it quits here, but I would love to hear another story from you guys because it seems like you guys got some good stories, and I love hearing them.
I had to testify against the cops.
Oh, goody. That's a fun thing to do, right?
Yeah, I was racking my brain. I was like, what's the best? Because I got a lot of them, but I was like, what's the best one that I can tell? And this is the best one that I can tell for this show.
All right. Well, yeah. I don't want you to inseminate yourself, whatever, but incriminate. That's the word. But go on.
So I used to run this underground show space in Hamden, and it became a legitimate show space. But when I was doing the shows there, initially, it didn't have a music license. We were over capacity all the fucking time. It was real bad. I actually did a show for the loved ones there, and it was awesome. That was nuts.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Cool. And I also did one for that band out of New England, The Pissed, and that was also nuts. It was so cool. And it was this restaurant, super cool. And so this one night, there's this dude, and he's clearly on, like, he's got to be on meth or some shit, because, like, this guy's like fucking Superman. This guy's like unstoppable, Yeah. And he's wearing these orange overalls, these like coveralls, but he's not wearing anything underneath them. And the reason why I know that is because he'd unzipped the front of the coveralls, and they were starting to come off of his body because he wasn't wearing the sleeves.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like shrinking down. The guy looks like one of those, like, entry-level goons on like Arkham City video game or some shit. Like, it's like real crazy. So all these fucking cops surround this guy. And this is like, again, it's Hamden. Everything happens in the middle of the fucking street. So all these cops, I mean, dude, it must have been like 12 cops surround this dude. And they had those tasers from Time Cop where the shit shoots out of them, like those prongs with the, like a bullet,
Hell,
crazy ones. It's not the kind where you gotta like touch the guy with your arm. Like you hold it like a gun and it fucking fires out. So these guys get all around this dude and they start shooting these things at this guy. I didn't think those things were real to begin with. Then you see them in person, like, holy shit. And so, it's all crack-a-lacking, it's just, again, 12 stun guns all going off in this dude. And again, he's on, whatever he's on.
Yeah, crack-a-lack.
Like PCP, meth, whatever this dude's on, like, it's not stopping him. Okay? So it's just one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Oh.
But that's also Hamden, because like then you turn around and that's the next craziest thing you've ever seen. So these guys are like all over this dude. Finally, they tackle this guy to the ground. He's pretty naked at this point. He's really mad. The tasers didn't do a thing on him, and they get him and they throw him in this paddy wagon. Well, meanwhile, this buddy of mine, who for this story will remain nameless, he was taking pictures of the cops doing this shit to this guy, right?
Oh, good.
So they grab my friend and they beat him up, They aren't going to say they're going to beat him up, but they beat him up. Right? They use the ground and they use the car and all that shit, their little maneuvers. And they smash up his shit in the meantime. They smash his camera and they grab his bag and they throw him in the car. And as they're throwing him in the car, he says to me, he goes, Neil, you gotta get, get the bag. Just because it had like his personal possessions in it and shit, like his wallet and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I take a step out off the curb because I'm just staring at this thing with my mouth open, because the whole thing takes place in like the span of like 2-3 minutes, right? But time's moving slow as hell, so it feels like an hour, And I take a step out, and the guy looks at me. He's like, "You want to go to jail too, Red?" And I was like, "Whoa, holy shit!" This escalated quickly. So I just stood there. They fucking grab my friend. They throw him in the same paddy wagon with this like lunatic, which I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And they take my friend down to central booking for quote unquote resisting arrest.
Yeah, that sounds.
And I was like, okay, weird. That's bullshit. Resisting arrest has always been one of those things that doesn't make any fucking sense to me, but that's fine. And
oh yeah.
So they throw my friend in jail. The next day, what they kind of fucked up though, because what they didn't know was that my buddy, his mom is a lawyer.
Oh yeah, okay. That's good.
And it turns out that while she couldn't represent him because of, I guess familial shit, however that works out, she's got lawyer friends, other lawyers.
Oh, for sure.
So this lawyer calls me up, like, I'm talking like this thing happens at like 2 a.m. At like 9:30 in the morning, this other lawyer calls me. He's like, "Hey, so you're a witness against police brutality case in Baltimore City. How about you testify?" And I was like, what? I was like, fucking, what? First of all, you use the word testify, which I'm not a fan of anyway. And now you want me to fucking testify against the police. Also, you want me to testify against the Baltimore City Police.
Yeah.
What?
That sounds dangerous as hell.
Yeah, it was scary as shit. So it turns out it wasn't just me. It was like me and like 3 other guys that saw this whole thing go down. And we all knew each other. But what the craziest fucking thing was that, the trial didn't happen for like a month or 2. And I had some shows in between. Yeah. And the fucking cops paid me a visit.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Never said a word, but they definitely wanted to put some squeeze on me, and I was just like, oh my fucking God. And it was totally nuts. So I end up going to the court hearing, with these other like 2 to 3 guys, that are witnesses, and we're sitting there. And the thing about that bullshit is like anybody who sat through something like this, like they say it's going to be like a 15-minute trial. Yeah, but there's like 80 trials. So you have to wait there the whole fucking day.
Oh, yeah.
So you're sitting there and you're hearing like all of this insane shit, like, Your Honor, yes, the defendant does have 85 counts of B&E, this, that, and the other thing, this, that, and the other thing, this, that, and the other thing. But, it's only their like 95th offense, so hey, it's a PJ. It's this whole fucking thing. So we're just sitting there and I'm waiting for like my social justice warrior buddy, to fight the man, and I got to testify against the fucking cops. Well, this cop who, this was all alleged against,
yeah.
I think the state didn't think that this dude was going to have fucking witnesses, because this cop rolls in. You can see it, like he rolls in like all like, hey, yeah, whatever, fuck it, He takes one fucking look at like the 4 or 5 of us, because it's again like it's the defendant and then like the few witnesses they had, because we're all kind of sitting together, Yeah. And he just mumbles something in the assistant DA's ear or whatever that person is that has to like. Fuck over regular people, and they dropped everything against my friend, like right there. The judge didn't say one fucking word. They just dropped the whole fucking thing because they knew, I guess, that like if we said anything, they would be fucked. So we never even got a chance to say anything in court because before we could testify, they dropped all the charges and closed the case down. That was it.
Well, I would like to say that you're a true American hero, and I thank you for that story. I think between the 2 of those, you guys have had the best crime stories on this podcast so far. So I will give it up to you.
Oh, yeah.
Come to Baltimore more, man. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds like it. Let's fucking break some crimes. We'll fucking, well, the weed epidemic is over, right? Like, is it legal in Baltimore now?
Yes.
You got medical legality in the state of Maryland, but it's about as strict as it was in California like 15, 20 years ago.
All right. So on one hand, you got like the classic story that'll never be told again because we progressed so well as a society. So you got that, and then they're like extreme, like I took down a fucking cop story. And thank you guys so much for those.
Of course,
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
But
once we can play some more shows, we'll get some more stories for you too, because it's gonna get, it's gonna get weird.
Yeah, it is gonna get weird. It's already getting weird. I hope we can play shows again, and hopefully play with you guys one of these days down in Baltimore or somewhere around there. Like who knows what is gonna happen again. Hopefully someday, and the world might be a different place when it does. But I'm optimistic as always that it'll happen.
Yeah,
and absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys being on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you. And anything? Do people need to know where to find you on the internets and whatnot, or did we already go over that?
We went over, but let's do it one more time.
That's a good idea.
Panicproblem.com.
There it is, panicproblem.com and panicproblembemore.bandcamp.com.
And Facebook, Instagram, all that shit. You'll find it.
Hell yeah.
Twitter, Spotify, yada, yada.
Also, free yellow.
Hey, hashtag free yellow. Got to get that hashtag in there.
Hashtag free yellow.
Yeah.
I got a question for you. Can I ask one question?
Yeah, for sure.
Who are you listening to right now that's not getting a lot of... I just started a new playlist on Spotify, and I'm doing some other shit too, but is there any like unheard of bands out of where you might hang out that are cool as shit that are not as well known? Because I'm doing a playlist called Hidden Gems.
Any prison doo-wop groups?
Fuck you.
I would like to know about more of those, but I've been listening to a lot of surf music lately. And
fuck yes.
And there's one band, I'm gonna tell you about a punk rock band too, but there's one band that like I don't know how many people know about them, but they're kind of like my favorite surf band. They seem like they do pretty well, but they haven't come out with an album for a while, and they're called the Reigning Monarchs. And I'm not friends with them. Right. I'm not friends with them or anything. I just fucking love their music. But one band I would like to give a shout out to because they're from our neck, not our neck of the woods. I don't think they ever been to prison, but they're from Europe. Is Lone Wolf, and they're from the Netherlands, which is an amazing place to ever go to if you get a chance. They got hit not the band, but that country got hit real hard with the corona, like sickness and stuff. So, luckily I don't think any of my friends got sick, but, they're doing okay. And, check out Lone Wolf. And then, what else? Not on Tour is a real tight band from Israel. And, they're kind of like, if you're into like newer, Descendant stuff, like Everything After Everything Sucks. Like they got that kind of like production quality to their songs. And it's very like fast and like could be metal if it wasn't so poppy. Yeah, that's good stuff.
That's fucking cool. If you like surf shit, we've got actually a bunch of bands out of Baltimore that do that shit that are way cool. There's a band called the Flying Faders. You should definitely check out.
Yeah, I would have to. I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, actually, Derek from Wallride put out. He puts out their shit.
Nice,
cool shit.
Excellent,
awesome.
Yeah.
And the Bali Llamas.
Oh yeah, Bali Llamas. Fuck, Chris's band. That's right. Yep.
Oh, tight. Bali Llamas.
Yeah, B-A-L-I Llamas.
Tight. Sounds good to me, guys. Well, it's been a pleasure having you guys on, and hopefully we could talk soon, and let's do it again sometime.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. All right, take it easy, man.
All right, tight, guys. See you later. And that's it for the Intruder Green podcast. I want to thank Neil and Tom again for being on it. You can hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at Intruder Green. The Intruder Green call-in line is +1 608-535-9608. Patreon.com/Intruder Green if you want to become a producer of the podcast. The Intruder Green podcast is produced by Colin Bennett. Hair and makeup by Genevieve Smith. Set design by Dylan Raymer. Catering, Matthew Hendershot. Lighting, Squeak Lights, Rahway, New Jersey. Our theme song is Particles by Type Bros. We're partying in here. We got all kinds of beer. Ladies and gentlemen, Neil and Tom of Panic Room on the Intruder Green podcast. Not Panic Room. God damn it. See, we talked about it too much. I fucked it up.
That's right.
All right. I would put the camera on, but I do a whole thing where I loop the phone through the mixer, and you would basically be staring up at my ceiling if you saw the camera's awesome. Looking at.
I bet it's a beautiful ceiling.
Oh,
it's a male ceiling.
Yeah, it's white and bumpy, and that's just how I like them.
That's premium quality paint job right there.
That's right.